This is you. Now, you're probably wondering how you ended up here. Well, let me tell you. You were born with your true identity hidden from everyone, including yourself. It wasn't very common to be born as a spy, but unfortunately for you, that's exactly how it worked out. Both your parents were part of the spy world, which means your childhood was filled with moving from place to place with no one telling you why, all because your parents had to keep your whole family's identity a secret. Spies had no time for anything else besides being a spy. Staking out, watching enemies, secretly making their way into enemy groups, and even breaking into random places to steal all the information you needed. Spying was a full-time job, so you and your parents had time for nothing else. I mean, you may not even celebrate the holidays. That's how much work it was keeping your identity a secret and staying out of the spotlight. So if you were expecting to see Santa Claus shimmying his chunky butt down your chimney, well, I got some unfortunate news for you. He isn't coming. Some other unfortunate news for you to hear is how most spies' careers ended. Mata Hari was a famous Dutch dancer during World War I who became notorious for being a spy. She was accused of being a double agent, spying for Germany, while also being a double agent for France, and she was arrested by the French and executed in 1917 by a firing squad. Richard Sorge was a Soviet spy during World War II. He managed to infiltrate Germany and alert the Soviets about the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941. Unfortunately, he was caught by the Japanese and executed in 1944 by hanging. And Paul Rospu was a German scientist and a spy during World War II. He worked with the British government, providing them with valuable information on rocket technology. Rospu was arrested by the Nazis when they discovered he was spying for the Allies. After being arrested and tortured, he was executed in 1948 by a firing squad as well. So yeah, not all spies were executed, but anytime you're entering a career where most of these people are being killed, it probably doesn't make you feel great. Especially when it's a firing squad. I don't know about you, but I don't want a bunch of bullets flying towards me. I mean, why do you think I'm standing here making YouTube videos and not being a spy myself? I'm not trying to end up assassinated like these guys. By the time you hit elementary school, you were probably already becoming aware that your life was a little different than everybody else's your age. You were most likely given a fake identity, like Steve Johnson or something. Sorry if you're watching this and your name is actually Steve Johnson. But you weren't just given one. To protect you and your parents, you could be assigned a new identity every time you moved. One week you could be Mike Williams, and the next you're Jeremiah Rogers. Heck, I mean, you could even be LeBron James. Who knows? You also had zero chance of making friends. Like I said, your parents were moving you around like nobody's business. And not to mention, you couldn't trust anyone. Not even the children you saw every day who were your classmates. This kid might look like he's just an innocent kid who picks his nose, but you can never be too careful. Protecting your identity was #1 priority. Even though you were born into a spy family, most children weren't. During wars, some countries used children as spies instead of adults. Kids were often chosen because they were smaller and could sneak around without being noticed. Sneaking into bushes, climbing trees, hitting enemies with a stick, really whatever they wanted to do. Sometimes they would carry secret messages to pass on or watch what enemy soldiers were doing. Adults might not think to question a child, so it was easier for them to gather information without being caught. If they got caught, though, they would be punished. It didn't matter if they were a kid, they would be locked up, hurt, or even killed. Yeah, some of these countries were making these poor children spies and potentially killing them. Since they were so young, they didn't always know how to stay safe or avoid danger, so their life was always at risk. Another reason some children became spies was because they were forced into it. Most of the time, they lived in areas where war was happening, and they didn't have a choice but to get involved. Sometimes families would force children to do dangerous jobs like spying because they were desperate for help or needed to survive. Depending on the country, they may have even hurt the family if the child wouldn't become a spy for their country. As you hit your teens, you're trained in the secret spy techniques, like how to gather information, stay hidden, or communicate without being detected. You also learned how to think quickly in high-pressure situations and evade capture. Plus, you had to master multiple different languages. Your training was intense, and the stakes would be much higher than any typical schoolwork other kids your age were doing. I mean, I know fractions and multiplication is hard, but I think these spies had it a little harder. At this age, you start to understand how dangerous your line of work really is. Some spies your age might be excited about helping their country, while others are just trying to survive or protect their families. This was also the age you started using weapons and gadgets. Most of the weapons you had to learn to use were small, concealed firearms to protect yourself or carry out assassinations. Derringers were small, easily concealable pistols that were often hidden in pockets or disguised as everyday items like a lipstick tube. You could also use miniature pistols. Some spies used tiny, specially designed pistols like the Walther PPK, famously used by James Bond, which were small but powerful enough to deliver a deadly shot up close. You also had poison, which was one of the most common weapons used by spies for assassination or sabotage. Spies could carry poisons in hidden compartments or in easily transportable forms like poisoned rings. Some rings had hidden compartments containing deadly poison, which could be used to eliminate targets secretly. And you also had poison-tipped darts/needles. These could be hidden in pens, umbrellas, or even in a hidden compartment in a shoe, allowing you to silently inject poison into your target. You also had stuff like hidden cameras and microphones, a garrote, which was a device used for strangling someone quietly and efficiently, and explosives like C4 and time bombs. Not to mention the best things you had, which were hidden weapons like pen guns, umbrella guns, and cigarette holder guns. Those were exactly what they sound like. Hidden guns used to kill someone in a pinch. Cigarette holders were even designed to shoot a bullet when you took a puff. That might be the coolest weapon in history. As you finally hit your late teens and 20s, you finally become a full-time spy. At this point, you're traveling to different countries, pretending to be someone you're not, and involved in life or death situations. You might even get to pull out your cigarette gun and commit your own assassination. Even though you just became a full-time spy, you better enjoy the short time you have. During dangerous wartime, spies were only expected to live 3 to 5 years. But regular spies outside of war that could stay hidden for long periods and avoid detection could survive longer, sometimes even living into their 40s or 50s. You're living a double life that's extremely stressful. On the surface, you appear to have a normal job. Some spies would have a normal job like businessman, teacher, or engineer, but you decided to be a journalist. And even though on the surface you are just reporting news, beneath the surface you are secretly gathering intelligence, running covert operations, and infiltrating enemy organizations, gathering all the information you can. Your only goal was to be careful not to reveal your true identity to anyone, not even close friends or family. Hiding your identity was the only way you would stay alive. Your day starts with you waking up in a random hotel or a safe house, and as soon as you leave, you have to make sure to check your surroundings. There is absolutely no way someone can be following you, or otherwise you're probably going to be executed. You go on about your day, secretly hidden as a journalist, getting all the information you need, risking your life to get the job done, stealing documents, long hours of surveillance, and even assassinating someone if you have to. After a long day of hard spy work, you make your way back to your safe house. As you get to the door, you pull out your key when out of nowhere, a dart hits you in the back. It looks like someone found out you were a spy. You pass out and wake up dangling upside down over an alligator. Oh, and there's no way out. It looks like you're ending up as a lot of those spies I mentioned earlier. Dead. So I'll just leave you here, I guess. Good luck.